Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. As an assistant in a Montessori environment, you play a vital role in nurturing the child's independence and love of purposeful work. And practical life is where that journey begins. This area isn't just about pouring water or buttoning a frame. It's about helping children become confident, capable members of their community. Today, we'll explore what makes practical life so foundational, how it supports the child's development, and how you can support it with presence, grace, and quiet strength. In a Montessori classroom, practical life is the foundation upon which all future learning is built. It provides children with meaningful, real-world activities that nurture independence, coordination, responsibility, and social harmony. This essential area is grounded in four key domains. The first domain, care of the person, includes activities that help the child meet their own needs with dignity, from hand washing to dressing, fostering self-respect and autonomy. Next, we see care of the environment. These tasks, like sweeping, watering plants, polishing, all invite the child to take responsibility for their surroundings and to contribute to the classroom beauty and order. Next, we find control of movement. These exercises refine both gross and fine motor skills through purposeful action, helping the child gain mastery over their body and build the focus necessary for academic work. It concludes with grace and courtesy. Gentle, intentional lessons help the child navigate social life with kindness, respect, and confidence, forming the foundation for the peaceful community. Practical life isn't preparation for life, it is life. And through these four areas, the child is invited to engage with the world in a purposeful, joyful, and deeply human way. Before a child can pour water or polish a mirror, they must first learn how to carry a tray, roll a mat, or sit at a table with care. These preliminary exercises are the child's first steps towards independence and purposeful work in the Montessori environment. Introduced in small or large groups at the beginning of the year or as new students join, they help establish the norms of the classroom movement and behavior. Each exercise is modeled with precision and grace, presented slowly and deliberately to highlight every step and invite careful observation. During the work period, these foundational routines are gently reinforced through repetition and quiet redirection, helping the children internalize the rhythm and responsibility of daily life in the classroom. Though simple in form, these exercises lay the groundwork for concentration, coordination, and the confidence to engage meaningfully in the wider Montessori environment. These early practical life activities introduce the child to the classroom's rhythm, materials, and expectations. Each task is simple in appearance but rich in developmental purpose, designed to refine movement, establish order, and awaken the child's sense of dignity and capability. Common preliminary exercises include rolling and unrolling a mat, carrying a tray, a chair, or a table, opening and closing containers or doors, sitting at a table with care, walking through the environment with awareness, dry and wet pouring, folding cloths or napkins. Each exercise is presented with clear points of interest, such as the sound of the container closing gently or the alignment of a rolled mat, which draws the child's attention and invites repetition. As the child repeats the work, they are guided by an internal motive of perfection, striving not for external praise, but for the quiet satisfaction of doing something well. Through analysis of movement, the adult breaks each task into precise, deliberate steps, allowing the child to observe, absorb, and eventually internalize the grace and control modeled before them. These exercises are not just preparation for later work. They are the child's first experience of purposeful action, and they set the tone for a classroom rooted in respect, beauty, and independence. Care of self is the child's first invitation to autonomy. Through meaningful tasks like hand washing, dressing, brushing hair, and blowing one's nose, the child begins to meet their own needs with growing confidence and pride. These activities foster independence and self-confidence, allowing the child to experience the dignity of doing for oneself. As they button, zip, and groom, they refine motor coordination, strengthening the small muscles of the hand and preparing for more complex work ahead. With consistent practice, these routines instill responsibility and rhythm, helping the child internalize order, care, and self-respect. In this way, care of self becomes more than hygiene. It becomes a foundation for identity, capability, and joyful autonomy. In addition to building physical independence, these everyday tasks also support the child's developing executive functioning. As the child plans and sequences their actions, like gathering materials before brushing hair or completing a hand washing routine, they exercise working memory. Each task requires them to sustain attention, control impulses, and adjust when faced with challenges like a stubborn zipper or a spilled pitcher. These moments of perseverance and flexibility allow the child to regulate emotions, solve problems, and adapt, while strengthening confidence in their ability to care for themselves with thoughtful intention. Care of the environment invites the child to engage in meaningful work that nurtures both the space around them and their inner sense of order. Through activities like sweeping, watering plants, polishing, and setting the table, the child learns that their actions have visible impact, supporting order in the classroom and creating beauty and calm. These tasks encourage responsibility as the child begins to take care for shared materials and spaces with pride and consistency. Over time, this work fosters a deep connection to the community as the child experiences themselves as a contributing member of a peaceful, cooperative environment. In caring for their surroundings, the child learns to care for others and to take their place in a world that values stewardship, respect, and shared purpose. In the Montessori classroom, care of the environment activities empower the child to take responsibility for their surroundings with pride and purpose. These tasks are not chores. They are invitations to contribute, to notice beauty, and to feel a sense of belonging. Each activity supports the child's growing sense of order, encourages responsibility, and deepens their connection to the classroom community. Each of these activities is presented with clear points of interest, such as the sound of water dripping or the sparkle of a polished surface, which draws the child's attention and invites repetition. Over time, the child internalizes not only the movements, but also the motives of perfection, the quiet joy of doing something well for its own sake. Through careful analysis of movement, the adult breaks each task into deliberate steps, allowing the child to absorb the grace, rhythm, and responsibility embedded in each activity. Control of movement in the Montessori environment offers the child opportunities to move with intention, grace, and growing mastery. Through purposeful activities such as walking on the line, pouring, transferring, or balancing, the child refines motor skills, both gross and fine, while developing coordination and physical confidence. These exercises foster deep concentration, as each movement requires sustained attention, precision, and repetition. Over time, the child learns to regulate their own body and space, building the foundation for academic focus and social grace. Most importantly, control of movement supports purposeful action, inviting the child to engage in work that is not only physical but also deeply satisfying and meaningful. In this way, movement becomes a path to independence, self-discipline, and joyful engagement with the world. Control of movement activities are carefully sequenced to help the child build mastery over their body through increasingly refined actions. Each task is broken down into deliberate, observable steps, allowing the child to follow a clear progression and internalize the rhythm of the work. As the child engages, they must hold the sequence in mind, activating working memory to recall what comes next while staying focused on the present moment. Through repetition, the child strengthens neural pathways, deepening their concentration and gradually achieving greater precision and control. This process not only refines motor coordination, but also nurtures patience, perseverance, and the quiet satisfaction of doing something well. In this way, movement becomes a path to independence, self-regulation, and sustained engagement with the environment. Grace and courtesy lessons are the child's first guide to living peacefully within a community. Through modeled interactions and intentional practice, the child learns how to greet others, wait their turn, offer help, and resolve conflicts with kindness and respect. These lessons teach social awareness by helping the child recognize how their actions affect others and how to respond with empathy. As they practice these skills, the child builds emotional intelligence, learning to name feelings, regulate behavior, and consider different perspectives. Over time, this work creates self-assurance as the child gains confidence in navigating social situations with dignity, clarity, and care. In this way, grace and courtesy becomes the quiet thread that weaves together independence, belonging, and peace. Grace and courtesy activities are the heartbeat of a peaceful Montessori classroom. They offer children the language and gestures of kindness, helping them navigate social life with confidence and care. These lessons are not abstract. They are lived, modeled, and practiced daily. Children learn how to greet a friend, wait their turn, offer help, and express gratitude. They practice how to interrupt politely, walk around a work rug, or apologize with sincerity. These moments may seem small, but they are profound. I once watched a 3-year-old gently place her hand on a guide's shoulder, waiting silently until acknowledged, her entire body radiating patience and pride. That moment wasn't just about waiting, it was about belonging. Through these lessons, the child develops social awareness, learning to see and respond to the needs of others. They build emotional intelligence, gaining tools to express feelings and resolve conflicts peacefully. And with each successful interaction, they grow in self-assurance, knowing they have the grace to move through the world with dignity and respect. The art shelf in a Montessori classroom is a natural extension of practical life, offering the child real tools, real choices, and real responsibility, all in the service of creative expression. Just as the child learns to pour water or polish a mirror with care and intention, they also learn to cut paper, glue with precision, and mix colors with purpose. These activities refine fine motor skills, supporting sequencing and concentration, and invite the child to care for materials and their workspace, mirroring the full work cycle found in other practical life areas. Typical art shelf activities might include cutting strips with scissors, gluing paper with shapes, watercolor painting, using stencils, or working with clay. Each task is presented with clear steps and beautiful materials, encouraging the child to explore texture, color, and form while developing coordination and independence. But more than that, the art shelf honors the child's inner world, offering a space where imagination and emotion can be expressed with dignity and joy. Food preparation in the Montessori practical life area is a deeply humanizing experience for the child, one that nourishes both the body and the spirit. It offers real purposeful work that supports the child's natural development by refining motor skills, strengthening coordination, and fostering independence. As the child slices bananas, spreads butter, or squeezes oranges, they engage in multiple step sequences that build concentration, working memory, and a sense of order. These tasks are not just about feeding oneself, they're about becoming capable, confident, and connected to the rhythms of daily life. Food preparation also nurtures the child's social and emotional growth. Sharing food, offering a slice to a friend, or setting a table becomes a quiet act of grace and community. The child learns that their work has meaning, that they can contribute to the well-being of others. I'll never forget watching a 4-year-old carefully peel a hard-boiled egg, place it on a small plate, and walk it over to her friend with a quiet, "Would you like some?" The pride in her posture, the gentleness of her offer, it was a moment of dignity, generosity, and real-world competence, all wrapped into one. That's the power of food preparation. It feeds the child's hands, heart, and humanity. In the practical life area, the assistant serves as a quiet yet essential presence, supporting the child's independence by maintaining the environment and modeling the grace and precision that define Montessori work. The assistant ensures that materials are clean, complete, and attractively arranged, upholding order and beauty so that the child is consistently invited into purposeful work. With a watchful eye, the assistant observes and protects concentration, stepping in only when necessary and always with gentle, limited intervention. Their movements are slow and deliberate, offering the child a living model of precision and care. Through their quiet demeanor and respectful interactions, the assistant models grace and courtesy, helping to establish a peaceful tone in the classroom. Most importantly, they encourage the child, not through praise or correction, but through presence, trust, and the quiet confidence that the child is capable. In this way, the assistant becomes a steward of the environment and a guardian of the child's unfolding independence. Dr. Montessori observed that when children are given freedom within a carefully prepared environment, they reveal their true nature, capable of deep concentration, joyful work, and inner discipline. She called this transformation normalization, and she linked it directly to purposeful movement and the child's ability to focus. Today, research in developmental psychology confirms what Montessori saw over a century ago. Studies show that executive functioning, including working memory, inhibitory control, and cognitive flexibility, is strengthened through activities that require sustained attention, sequencing, and self-regulation. These are precisely the skills cultivated through practical life work. Montessori emphasis on purposeful movement is also supported by neuroscience. Movement and cognition are deeply intertwined, and hands-on, goal-directed activities enhance learning and brain development. In the Montessori environment, movement is not random. It is intentional, sequenced, and deeply satisfying to the child. Finally, the process of normalization, marked by concentration, love of work, and social harmony, is increasingly understood as a developmental outcome of environments that support autonomy, intrinsic motivation, and meaningful engagement. In short, Montessori's observations have become today's research findings. Her method not only honors the child's natural development, it anticipates the very outcomes modern science now recognizes as essential for lifelong learning and a sense of well-being. As we conclude, take a moment to reflect on what brought you to this work. The small, steady moments where a child ties a shoe, washes a table, or offers a kind word. These are not just classroom routines. These are seeds of peace, planted through your care, your presence, and your belief in the dignity of every child. Montessori called this work an aid to life, and you, as an assistant, are part of that calling. Through quiet gestures, restocking a tray, preserving concentration, modeling grace, it is you who upholds this invisible scaffolding that allows the child to unfold naturally and joyfully. Let your work be rooted in trust. Trust in the child's potential, trust in the method, trust in the transformation that comes, not through control, but through careful preparation and unwavering respect. You are not just helping in a classroom. You are participating in a pedagogy that nurtures peace, autonomy, and the full expression of the human spirit. This is no small thing.